Ladies and gentlemen, we've all experienced the sting of betrayal, disappointment, or hurt from someone we trusted. But here's a powerful truth you must understand: you don't owe anyone a second chance. You don't owe them the opportunity to repeat their mistakes, hurt you again, or prove that they can change when their actions have already shown you the truth. Why should you continue to allow people into your life who are only there to drain your energy, disrespect your boundaries, or undermine your value? The most powerful thing you can do for yourself is recognize your own worth and refuse to let anyone treat you less than you deserve. The way people treat you is a reflection of how you allow them to treat you. It's time to stop allowing second chances to those who've proven they don't value you. Protecting your peace is the foundation of living a life that aligns with your values, goals, and sense of purpose. Too often, people allow external factors, especially others' actions, to disturb their mental and emotional well-being. However, what you must come to understand is that protecting your peace begins with you. The power to maintain peace in your life is not in the hands of others, but within your own ability to set clear boundaries, take control of your surroundings, and make decisions that prioritize your well-being over the needs or expectations of others. You see, life is full of challenges. And one of the greatest tests you'll face is managing the influence of people who might disrupt your peace. Whether it's toxic relationships, disrespectful behavior, or unspoken expectations, others will often seek to impose their needs or desires onto you. But when you don't take control of your inner world, these external forces can pull you in all directions, draining your energy and clouding your judgment. This is why you must make it a priority to protect your peace, because it is the foundation upon which everything else in your life is built. When you allow someone to repeatedly hurt you, disrespect you, or challenge your boundaries, you are giving them permission to violate your peace. You might tell yourself that they didn't mean it, or that they'll change, or that maybe you can let it slide this time. But the truth is that every time you let someone cross a boundary, you don't take action, you're allowing them to continue their behavior. This erodes your peace bit by bit, and with every instance, it becomes harder to reclaim it. Recognizing that protecting your peace is a personal responsibility is the first step to taking back control. You can't wait for others to understand your value or to treat you better. You have to understand your own worth first. When you know your worth, when you understand how precious your peace is, you will stop tolerating any behavior that disturbs it. The moment you realize that your emotional well-being is a direct reflection of the decisions you make, you will begin to make better choices. You'll stop giving people second chances to break your trust, hurt your feelings, or disregard your boundaries. Every relationship, whether personal or professional, requires healthy boundaries in order to thrive. Boundaries are not walls, they are lines you draw to protect yourself from the harmful influence of others. These lines help you define what is acceptable behavior and what is not. Without them, you open the door for people to walk all over you, take advantage of your kindness, and disrespect your personal space. This is not a sign of strength, but of vulnerability. By establishing and enforcing boundaries, you show others how to treat you, and more importantly, you show yourself that you will not allow your peace to be compromised. But this doesn't mean that it will always be easy. The process of protecting your peace may involve difficult decisions, uncomfortable conversations, and even the removal of people from your life. You might feel guilty or conflicted, especially if those people are close to you. But you have to ask yourself, what is more important, keeping the peace at all costs or preserving the peace within yourself? The answer will become clearer when you realize that your inner peace is a non-negotiable. No relationship or external situation should be allowed to take precedence over your mental and emotional well-being. People who disrupt your peace can take many forms: friends, family members, colleagues, or even acquaintances. Some may not even intend to cause harm, but do so unintentionally by being negative, manipulative, or selfish. The key here is that their behavior still has an impact on your well-being. You are not responsible for their actions, but you are responsible for how you respond. If you allow someone to continue draining your energy or causing you distress, you are contributing to your own unhappiness. The decision to protect your peace is also a commitment to protecting your future. When you stop tolerating behaviors that disturb your peace, you make room for growth. You make space for people who add value to your life, who encourage your progress, and who respect your boundaries. This shift may feel difficult at first, but over time, you will begin to realize that the more you protect your peace, the more you attract peace into your life. You will find that your relationships become healthier, your stress levels decrease, and your energy is better spent on activities and people that contribute to your growth. In the long run, protecting your peace is an act of self-love. It is a way of telling yourself that you are worth the effort it takes to ensure that you are not subjected to negativity or mistreatment. You are valuable, and you deserve to be treated with the respect and dignity you so freely give to others. By setting boundaries, making tough decisions, and prioritizing your emotional well-being, you are not only protecting yourself, but you are also demonstrating to others that they must treat you with the same respect. It is a powerful declaration of self-worth, and it is a declaration that will lead you to greater peace, fulfillment, and success in all areas of your life. When you begin to protect your peace, you take back control. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start becoming the architect of your life. You decide who enters your world and what energy they bring with them. You are no longer at the mercy of others' behavior. Instead, you are in charge of your emotional and mental state. That is true power. And when you harness that power, nothing will be able to disturb your peace again. Your self-worth is one of the most important elements of who you are, and it should never be compromised for the sake of others. Too often, people find themselves in situations where they tolerate disrespect or mistreatment because they believe that their worth is tied to the approval or validation of others. Whether it's a toxic relationship, a manipulative friendship, or an unhealthy work environment, many people endure negative experiences because they haven't fully realized or embraced their own value. However, true self-worth comes from understanding that you are enough as you are and that no one has the right to treat you as anything less. When you allow someone to treat you poorly or to disregard your needs and boundaries, you are, in essence, telling them that their behavior is acceptable. Over time, this creates a pattern that diminishes your sense of self-worth. People who repeatedly hurt or disrespect you do not see your value, but the problem arises when you start to believe that their perception of you is accurate. The reality is that your worth is not up for negotiation, and it is not dependent on how others treat you or view you. You are valuable simply because you exist, and you deserve to be treated with the respect and dignity that you would give to others. One of the most powerful acts of self-love you can demonstrate is refusing to tolerate mistreatment. This doesn't mean that you should expect perfection from others, but it does mean that you should never accept behavior that harms or diminishes your sense of self. When you start setting clear boundaries and saying no to those who do not treat you with respect, you send a clear message not only to others but to yourself that you know your worth. And this is the kind of message that builds a stronger, more resilient sense of self-esteem. Many people struggle with the idea of self-worth because they are afraid of rejection or being alone. They fear that if they stand up for themselves or walk away from relationships that are not serving them, they will be left without anyone. But what they fail to realize is that by staying in these relationships, they are robbing themselves of the chance to attract those who genuinely value them for who they are. When you settle for relationships or situations that make you feel less, then you block the path to true connections that honor your worth. You cannot allow fear to dictate your worth. You must trust that by protecting yourself from those who bring you down, you are opening the door to relationships that lift you up. The act of valuing yourself is a decision that requires practice and courage. It's easy to get caught up in the opinions of others, especially when it feels like you're constantly seeking approval or validation. But real strength comes from knowing that you are enough without needing anyone else to affirm it. When you truly believe in your own value, you no longer rely on others' treatment of you to determine your worth. Your sense of self is anchored in your understanding that you are deserving of respect, kindness, and love no matter how others behave. One of the keys to understanding and embodying your self-worth is learning to trust your intuition. Deep down, you already know what you deserve. You can feel when someone is treating you poorly or crossing your boundaries, and you have an inner voice that tells you when it's time to walk away. But too often, we silence that voice because we fear confrontation or because we feel guilty for standing up for ourselves. The truth is, your intuition is your guide to self-respect, and you must trust it. When you ignore your gut feeling, you are, in essence, betraying your own worth and allowing someone else to decide how you should be treated. The more you practice honoring your self-worth, the more you will begin to see how others treat you as a reflection of your own standards. When you set high standards for yourself, others will follow suit. By refusing to accept anything less than what you deserve, you are teaching people how to treat you. And the more you respect yourself, the more you will attract relationships and opportunities that reflect that respect. You'll find that the people who truly value you will not only respect your boundaries, but will also celebrate your worth. In contrast, those who cannot recognize or respect your value will naturally fade from your life. This is not a loss, it is a gain. It is a gain in peace, in self-love, and in the opportunity to make space for people who will see you for who you truly are. Understanding your self-worth and refusing to compromise it for anyone else is one of the most empowering decisions you can make. It allows you to create a life where you are the primary caretaker of your emotional and mental well-being. You no longer wait for others to validate you. Instead, you validate yourself by honoring your own boundaries and standing firm in your beliefs about what you deserve. Ultimately, the message is simple: your self-worth is intrinsic and it is non-negotiable. When you recognize this truth, you stop settling for relationships or circumstances that undermine you. You stop giving second chances to people who have already shown you who they are. And by doing so, you not only protect yourself from harm, but also give yourself the freedom to live authentically, surrounded by people who value and respect you for the incredible person you are. Setting boundaries is an essential practice for anyone who desires to protect their peace, maintain their self-worth, and live a life that aligns with their values. Boundaries are not walls designed to isolate you from others. Rather, they are healthy limits that define how you allow others to treat you, how you prioritize your time, and how you protect your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. Without boundaries, you leave yourself vulnerable to manipulation, disrespect, and the emotional exhaustion that comes from overextending yourself. Boundaries are a form of self-respect, and they send a clear message about the standard you have set for your life. When you set boundaries, you are not being selfish or unkind. Instead, you are acknowledging your worth and asserting your right to live a life that is fulfilling and stress-free. Too often, people avoid setting boundaries because they fear conflict or the potential for rejection. They worry that saying no will make them seem rude, distant, or unaccommodating. But the truth is, not setting boundaries is the real form of disrespect. By allowing others to cross lines that should not be crossed, you are sending the message that you are willing to sacrifice your peace and well-being for their comfort or demands. In the long run, this will only lead to resentment, burnout, and a loss of self-respect. One of the reasons boundaries are so important is that they help you conserve your emotional and mental energy. Every time you allow someone to overstep your boundaries, you give away a piece of yourself. Whether it's agreeing to do something you don't want to do, tolerating negative behavior, or letting someone take advantage of your time, every compromise chips away at your sense of self. Setting clear boundaries helps you preserve your energy for the things that truly matter, things that align with your goals, your values, and your vision for your life. You begin to understand that your time, your attention, and your emotional resources are limited, and you must spend them wisely. This is why boundaries are not just a matter of protecting your peace, but also a way to focus on what's truly important in your life. For instance, in relationships, setting boundaries is about knowing when to say no to behaviors that are not in alignment with your values or needs. In personal and professional contexts, boundaries prevent you from becoming overwhelmed with the demands of others. Without them, it's easy to find yourself constantly saying yes to things that drain you or allowing people to walk all over you. The more you allow this, the more you train people to expect that behavior from you. You might start off doing favors for others out of kindness, but eventually, if you don't set limits, others will begin to take advantage of your willingness. Setting boundaries ensures that your kindness is not exploited and that you are giving from a place of choice, not obligation. Setting boundaries also gives you the strength to recognize when a relationship, situation, or commitment is no longer serving your highest good. It is easy to fall into the trap of tolerating unhealthy relationships because of emotional attachment history or fear of being alone. But when you consistently allow others to cross your boundaries, you are devaluing yourself and compromising your well-being. In these moments, boundaries act as a guide to help you make the decision to let go of relationships or commitments that are toxic or no longer beneficial to your growth. This is not about rejecting people. It's about recognizing that you must put yourself first in order to continue growing and evolving. When you draw clear boundaries, you create the space for relationships that bring you peace, support, and mutual respect. However, setting boundaries is not always easy, especially when you've allowed people to overstep in the past. It can feel uncomfortable at first, and you may encounter resistance or pushback from those who are used to you being more accommodating. But this is where your commitment to your peace and your self-worth is tested. It's important to remain firm in your boundaries and not give in to guilt or pressure. Your decision to protect your peace is a sign of strength, not weakness, and the more you practice setting boundaries, the more confident you will become in asserting yourself. This not only improves your relationships, but also allows you to grow into a stronger, more authentic version of yourself. Moreover, boundaries are not just about saying no to others, they are also about saying yes to yourself. By setting boundaries, you are choosing to honor your needs, your values, and your personal growth. You are giving yourself permission to prioritize your own happiness and well-being without feeling guilty or selfish. When you allow yourself the space to thrive, you give others permission to do the same. Boundaries encourage healthy, balanced relationships where both parties can give and receive without resentment or burnout. They create an environment where mutual respect can flourish and where both people's needs can be met in a healthy, harmonious way. Ultimately, the practice of setting boundaries is an act of self-respect and self-love. It communicates that you are valuable and worthy of being treated with dignity, and it creates a foundation for healthy, fulfilling relationships. While setting boundaries may be uncomfortable at first, it becomes easier as you begin to see the positive impact it has on your life. The more you enforce your boundaries, the more peace, clarity, and energy you will have to pursue the things that truly matter. And the more you honor your boundaries, the more others will respect them as well. By protecting your boundaries, you protect your peace, your self-worth, and your future. Forgiving someone who has wronged you is often seen as an act of kindness, but it's also an act of power and self-liberation. Many people struggle with the idea of forgiveness, particularly when they feel deeply hurt by someone. The natural impulse is to hold on to anger, resentment, or bitterness, believing that doing so will somehow protect them from being hurt again. However, what many fail to realize is that holding on to these negative emotions actually causes more harm to the person holding the grudge than to the one they are angry with. Unforgiveness is a heavy burden, and it is a chain that keeps you tied to the past, preventing you from moving forward and living a life of peace and fulfillment. When someone betrays you, lies to you, or treats you poorly, it can feel impossible to forgive them. The pain they cause might run deep, and the wounds may feel fresh every time you think about what happened. But holding on to that pain doesn't make the other person suffer. It only makes you continue to relive the hurt. Unforgiveness becomes a toxic emotion that poisons your own heart and mind, preventing you from fully experiencing joy, love, and peace. It keeps you tied to the very thing that you are trying to move past, creating a cycle of emotional and mental anguish. Forgiveness is not about excusing the other person's behavior or making it okay. It's not about pretending that what happened didn't matter or that it didn't hurt you. Instead, forgiveness is a conscious decision to release the hold that the offense has over you. It's about choosing to free yourself from the grip of negative emotions, understanding that your peace and your future are far more important than the pain caused by someone else. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself, not to the other person. When you forgive, you free yourself from the weight of anger and resentment, and you open yourself up to healing and growth. The power of forgiveness lies in its ability to shift your focus. When you choose to forgive, you stop giving the person who wronged you control over your thoughts, emotions, and energy. By choosing to let go of the past, you take back control of your own life and empower yourself to move forward. You no longer allow the actions of another person to dictate your emotional state. Instead, you choose peace. And in doing so, you reclaim your personal power. This shift in focus allows you to redirect your energy toward healing, growth, and creating a future that is not clouded by the shadows of past hurts. Forgiveness is also an essential step in healing. When we are hurt by others, it's easy to fall into the trap of becoming bitter, cynical, or distrustful. We might build walls around ourselves to protect our hearts, but these walls can also keep out love, compassion, and new opportunities. They limit our capacity for growth and connection. By forgiving, you open the door to emotional healing. You allow yourself to let go of the past and make room for new experiences, new relationships, and new possibilities. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It means releasing the emotional hold that the event has on you so that it no longer has the power to define your life. Another aspect of forgiveness is that it doesn't necessarily require reconciliation. Sometimes the best way to protect yourself after forgiving someone is to distance yourself from them. Forgiving someone doesn't mean you have to continue allowing them to hurt you. In fact, true forgiveness often involves creating boundaries and making the conscious decision to not repeat the same patterns of behavior. Reconciliation may or may not be possible, but forgiveness is always within your control. It's about finding peace regardless of whether or not the other person acknowledges their wrongdoings or changes their behavior. You are forgiving them for your own peace of mind, not for their sake. It's important to recognize that forgiveness is a process, not a one-time event. Some wounds take longer to heal, and some offenses are harder to let go of. It's okay to take your time in forgiving, but the crucial point is that you make the choice to forgive and start the process. Every time the memory of the offense resurfaces, you have the opportunity to choose forgiveness again. Forgiveness doesn't mean that you will never feel hurt again, but it does mean that you are no longer allowing that hurt to control your life. You are taking back your power by choosing not to let the past dictate your future. Forgiveness is also a way of showing compassion to yourself. Often when we hold on to grudges or resentment, we are not just holding the other person accountable for their actions, we are punishing ourselves. Unforgiveness traps us in a cycle of pain and frustration, preventing us from moving forward in our own lives. When you forgive, you release yourself from this cycle and give yourself permission to heal. You acknowledge that you are worthy of peace and you take the steps necessary to reclaim it. In conclusion, forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools for personal transformation. It allows you to break free from the chains of the past and step into a future that is filled with peace, growth, and possibility. Forgiving others doesn't mean that you approve of their actions or that what they did was acceptable. It simply means that you are choosing to let go of the emotional weight of the offense. By forgiving, you free yourself from the grip of negativity and make room for the abundance of peace, joy, and healing that you deserve. And in doing so, you unlock the power to live a life that is truly free from the pain of the past. Knowing when to walk away from people, situations, or commitments that no longer serve you is an essential skill for maintaining your mental and emotional well-being. It's not always easy to let go, especially when there's a sense of obligation or when you've invested a significant amount of time and energy into something or someone. But understanding that walking away is sometimes the most empowering decision you can make is crucial for your personal growth and long-term happiness. There are moments in life when staying in a toxic relationship, job, or friendship can drain your energy, steal your peace, and limit your potential. The longer you stay in such situations, the more you risk losing sight of your own needs, values, and goals. We often think that by staying and trying harder, we can change the situation or the people involved. However, the truth is that sometimes the most loving and respectful thing you can do for yourself is to recognize that some situations are beyond repair. You may find yourself investing emotional or physical energy into something that doesn't reciprocate, and over time, this imbalance can lead to burnout, frustration, and resentment. When this happens, walking away is not a failure, it is an act of self-care and self-respect. One of the reasons we struggle with walking away is the fear of letting go. Letting go of a person, a relationship, or a situation can feel like giving up. And this can be a painful thought. There is often a belief that if we walk away, we're abandoning something or someone that once meant something to us. But walking away doesn't mean abandoning the value that something had at one point in time. It means acknowledging that it no longer fits into your life in a way that is healthy or fulfilling. Just because something or someone once brought value to your life does not mean that it will continue to do so indefinitely. Life is fluid and people grow and change. Sometimes the best way to honor a past relationship or situation is to accept that it has run its course and move on with gratitude and grace. Another challenge we face when deciding to walk away is the fear of the unknown. Leaving behind a familiar situation, even one that is unhealthy, can feel daunting. The fear of what might come next can prevent us from taking the necessary steps to change. However, staying in a situation that drains you, holds you back, or diminishes your worth will only continue to hold you in a state of stagnation. Stepping into the unknown, though uncomfortable, is often the only way to open up new possibilities for growth and fulfillment. When you release what no longer serves you, you create space for new opportunities, new relationships, and new experiences that align better with your current goals and values. Trusting yourself to take that first step into the unknown is an act of courage and self-belief. Letting go also requires understanding that you are not responsible for fixing others or changing situations that are beyond your control. Often we stay in unhealthy relationships or environments because we believe that we can somehow change the other person or the circumstances. However, change can only occur when both parties are willing to work toward it. If you are the only one invested in making the relationship or situation work, it is likely that you will only end up feeling frustrated, unsupported, and unappreciated. Walking away from such situations is not about giving up. It is about acknowledging that you deserve to be in environments that value and respect you. It's about recognizing that your worth is not defined by how much you can tolerate, but by how much you are willing to invest in your own well-being and happiness. Walking away is also a form of setting boundaries. It's about recognizing your limits and deciding that you will no longer tolerate what causes you harm, discomfort, or stress. Setting these boundaries doesn't just apply to romantic relationships or friendships. It applies to work, family, any situation where you feel your needs are not being met. Walking away means choosing not to compromise your values or your peace for the sake of someone else's comfort or convenience. When you respect your boundaries and refuse to tolerate situations that don't serve your best interests, you send a powerful message to yourself and to others about your self-worth. It's important to remember that walking away is not always a one-time decision. It is a continual process. There will be times when you need to reevaluate your relationships, commitments, and even your own beliefs. Life is a journey. And as you grow, your needs and priorities will change. There will be moments when you will need to revisit certain situations and ask yourself whether they are still in alignment with who you are becoming. When you can answer that question with honesty and clarity, you will find the courage to walk away when necessary and to walk towards something that nurtures your growth and well-being. Letting go of people and situations that are no longer beneficial is not an easy process, but it is an essential one. Every time you let go of something that doesn't serve you, you are creating space for new opportunities and experiences that align with your true self. It's an act of courage, self-respect, and self-love that frees you from the weight of toxic environments and unhealthy attachments. Walking away allows you to step into a future where you are empowered, free, and aligned with your highest purpose. And in doing so, you open up the possibility for greater joy, fulfillment, and personal growth. Letting go may feel painful in the moment, but it is often the very thing that will lead you to a brighter and more promising future. In life, we often face moments where we must choose between staying in a situation that drains us and making the brave decision to let go. Whether it's a relationship, a job, or even a way of thinking that no longer serves us, we often hold onto things out of fear of the unknown, fear of change, or fear of being judged by others. The truth, however, is that holding on to what no longer serves us only delays our growth and limits our potential. The real key to moving forward in life is knowing when it's time to let go and having the courage to release what is holding us back. Letting go is an act of strength, not weakness. When we choose to walk away from situations or people that no longer align with our values or bring us joy, we are choosing to honor ourselves and our journey. The difficulty lies in our attachment to what we know, even if it's not the best for us. We often stay in unhealthy situations because we fear what might happen if we let go. What will life be like without this job, this person, or this pattern of thinking? Will we be able to handle the change? However, the real question we need to ask ourselves is, what is the cost of holding on to something that's no longer serving us? What is the price we are paying in terms of our peace, our joy, and our personal growth? Sometimes the pain of staying is far greater than the pain of letting go. Letting go allows us to create space for new opportunities. When we release what is no longer serving us, we make room for things that are better aligned with our goals, dreams, and values. We open ourselves up to new experiences, new relationships, and new possibilities. The problem is that when we hold on to things that we are familiar with, we prevent ourselves from discovering what else life has to offer. It's like trying to fit new clothes into a closet that's already full. There's no room for anything else. But when we let go of the old, we create space for the new. And what's even more powerful is that this new space isn't just physical, it's emotional, mental, and spiritual as well. Letting go is about creating room for growth, both in your inner world and in your outer circumstances. Another important aspect of letting go is that it forces us to face our own fears and insecurities. Many times we hold on to things not because they're good for us, but because we fear that letting go will leave us empty or without direction. We might fear that without this person, this job, or this comfort zone, we won't know who we are or where we're going. But the reality is that letting go allows us to tap into the infinite potential that lies within us. It pushes us to discover who we are beyond the labels, roles, and attachments that we've clung to. The process of releasing is not just about letting go of something external, it's about letting go of the limitations we've placed on ourselves. It's about stepping into our true potential and realizing that we are capable of more than we've ever imagined. When we hold on to the past, whether it's past relationships, past failures, or past disappointments, we are essentially allowing the past to control our present and future. Holding on to the past is like trying to drive forward while looking in the rearview mirror. We can't move forward with any kind of speed or clarity if we are constantly looking back. By letting go, we free ourselves from the burden of the past and allow ourselves to fully embrace the present. We can then direct our energy toward what truly matters and create a future that is in alignment with who we are today, not who we were yesterday. Letting go is also about recognizing that we are worthy of better. We often stay in situations that are less than what we deserve because we have not yet recognized our own value. When we settle for less, we are telling ourselves that we are not worthy of more. However, when we make the choice to let go of what no longer serves us, we are making a statement that we value ourselves and are willing to seek out better opportunities, relationships, and experiences. This act of self-respect sends a powerful message to the universe that we are ready to receive more and that we are open to abundance in all its forms. By letting go of what holds us back, we open ourselves up to receiving the blessings and opportunities that are waiting for us. Finally, the process of letting go is a deep act of trust. It requires us to trust in ourselves, trust in the process of life, and trust that everything is unfolding as it should. We may not always understand why things don't work out the way we want them to, but the act of letting go is an acknowledgement that there is something greater at work. It's a surrender to the flow of life, knowing that when we release what is no longer serving us, we are making space for something greater and more aligned with our highest good. This trust is what gives us the courage to move forward, even when we don't have all the answers. It's the trust that when we let go, we are making room for the right things, the right people, and the right opportunities to enter our lives. Letting go is not easy, and it's not always comfortable. But it is necessary for our growth, our peace, and our happiness. When we have the courage to release what is no longer serving us, we open the door to new possibilities and to the life we truly deserve. It's a powerful act of self-love, self-respect, and faith in the future. Letting go allows us to create space for new opportunities, to face our fears, to embrace the present, and to step into the future with confidence and clarity. It is, without a doubt, one of the most transformative acts we can make in our lives.